Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the 6th and final season of Lucifer. A date announcement video had just come out, so if you haven't seen that already, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. Do note before watching this, it contains major spoilers for season 5, so if you're not completely caught up, do not watch it. But I really love that the trailer is like clips from every season, and it's pretty dope. Just kind of leading up to like the announcement of like, it's coming out like September 10th. I was like blown away by that because we literally just got the second half of season 5, so it just felt, I didn't even think that we'd be getting the 6th and final season this soon. It's going to be 10 episodes long, so I'm pretty excited about that. Like, I figured like they weren't going to do like a longer season like they did season 5, but I'm actually surprised it's even 10 episodes. I would have expected it to be even shorter than that, especially with it being so soon around the corner. But obviously 10 episodes, just the same length as season 4, but obviously I'm so pumped for this. It's sad to see Lucifer end, but at the same time, it's a thing of like, nah, I'm so excited to see how it ends, considering the amazing roller coaster that season 5 was, in the sense of it was funny, it was amazing, some awesome character development, and so many gut punches. That whole, you know, thing. So I don't know whether this is going to be a thoughts and theories or whether what this video is going to be, but obviously my head started exploding just thinking about like, oh man, how will this all wrap up? Because I think some of this is going to be stuff I brought up during my review, so do keep that in mind. But obviously now that Lucifer is God, now the question is like, you know, a big thing for him probably going into this final season is like, even that clip at the end of like, yeah, my last night in LA, and it's like, yeah, like he's gonna probably try to do that work balance thing, you know. It's like, no, me and Chloe, we are in game, we're gonna try and make this work, but balancing being God and in a relationship, I mean, obviously Chloe's had to balance that more so than anything, like trying to be, you know, a mom, and then like, you know, her life as a cop, but also now balancing all the craziness, celestial stuff that's kind of found its way into her life, especially now knowing about all the crazy celestial stuff that's happening in her life that she was unaware of before. So there's a lot of that she has to kind of deal with, so that's going to be a big strain on the relationship of like, can we make this work with you being God and everything? And it's like, well, let's try, but it's going to be a lot harder. And then Lucifer is like, right, I chose to be God for a reason, now I'm going to have to like choose that for the greater good over my relationship. Like, the sad thing is that Lucifer might not be able to have both, because for me, I was wondering, like, this seems like the type of show that can definitely have a happy ending. I just don't, I mean, there's probably going to be some sad bumps along the way. I mean, especially because of season 5. I don't know if we got any more like season 5 surprises like we got with the whole Dan thing. I don't know if we got more of that in this. I hope not, because I don't think my poor little heart could take any more of that. But I mean, speaking of the Dan thing, I think that's going to be a thing for that. Like, I think now that Lucifer is God, he's going to change the way hell operates. Like, you know, I mean, maybe he'll keep hell, but I think because, like, he's going to make an exception for Dan. I mean, that's the thing. We saw that, God, I'm blanking on his name. Lee made it to heaven by the end of season 5, which I feel like we got one more Lee appearance, because ever since Lee got introduced in the show, he makes at least one seasonal appearance every season, like if you've noticed. So I expect to see him at least one more time, like in season season 6. So I mean, technically he made 2 appearances in season 5 because he was in the beginning of season 5, but also at the end. But I think we're gonna make one more appearance. But it's like, right, there's hope that if Lee could, you know, deal with, like, then Dan can as well. But that's also the thing that bothered Lucifer the most. Like, nah, like, Dan did his best to, like, change, and he still ended up in hell. So I think Lucifer is going to change the way hell operates. Like, unless you're like the scummiest of scum people, like anyone that's trying their best to change, because he himself is going on a path of change over the course of this series. You know, he's dealt with the whole like guilt thing. Your guilt is what eats you away in hell. Like, that's what you punish yourself, because like your guilt is what does that to you. Which the argument could be like, you know, what's Dan's ultimate like regret? And I think, well, maybe his hell is Charlotte's death because he blames himself, or maybe it's just some of the evil stuff, like we don't know. But I think maybe that's something we'll see, like Lucifer might pop in on Dan and try and get him out of hell, trying to help Dan find his way to heaven, because I think the happily ever after for Dan's story would be for him to be in heaven, back with Charlotte. I mean, maybe it's going to be a thing that he's going to try and bring Dan out of hell and slap him in somebody's body type of situation. Maybe that could end up happening. It could be something like that, or it could just be simply, no, let's just take him to heaven to be with Charlotte. Because I think he should have at least like more time with like Trixie and Chloe and be able to say goodbye. Because I also thought like there was always going to be an Ella and him thing. Like there was something like that for a little bit, just simply because he was kind of trying to use her to get rid of some evidence at that time, I believe. But I still always had it in my head like, oh, maybe they'd end up together. I mean, granted, now she's dating the guy that Dan kind of set her up with. In season 5, so we'll see how things kind of turn out like that for Ella. There's also another thing crossing my mind with Ella too, wondering whether or not her and Azazel will meet. Azrael, I don't know why I said Azazel. Azrael will meet. Like I'd love it if they got to meet and it'd be like, wait, it's like, oh, Ella, here's my sister, because like Lucifer knows that, you know, the bonus episode and everything knows that the ghost that Ella kept seeing was actually his sister, the angel of death. But it'd be nice for them to kind of have something in that, because speaking of that, it's like Ella's still the only one who doesn't know, like amongst the main cast, that Lucifer is who he is. So I'm curious to find out, you know, first and foremost what her reaction is, and not being like, wait, I actually did meet God. Wait, you're God now, or is it just going to be the gag of Ella will never know? Because that's also a thing too. He's actually going to have to say goodbye to her this time, because she was super pissed, because it's like, right, you went to Florida without telling me. She's like, I can't stay pissed at you forever. So there's that whole angle of things. So that's going to be something, it's going to be interesting for them to cover. There's the Maze and Eve situation. I think, you know, it's going to be nice for a while, but I think eventually, like, Maze has kind of got it past her mind of like, right, Eve wants to die and stay human and everything and grow old and everything, so she's accepted that. There's also a part of that, like, obviously that stemmed from her resentment from her mom, Lilith, who kind of left them in hell, kind of didn't give them souls, but then she's like, oh, I gave you the perfect army, and then like lived her life, but it didn't turn out the way she wanted it to. I think, obviously, Maze is going to have that change of heart this season where she's going to try and become human. I think she wants to get rid of her demon side. She might try to become human just so she can be mortal. So I think that'd be interesting for that story to come full circle in that regard. I mean, the question is, like, where does a former demon like Lilith, well, like, where does Lilith go is my whole point. Like, when she died, like, was that like a heaven or hell situation? Maybe Maze can get finally some closure on that, like someone gives her an opportunity to talk to her mom, and maybe that eventually leads to her making that decision, like, I'm gonna make my decision kind of in spite of you, but also because of you, to give up my mortality, because I found love. Like, yeah, things didn't work out for you, but I'm gonna take that chance. Maybe it won't work out for me, but I found someone I love that I'm willing to give up my immortality for, giving up being a demon for it. So, or maybe she is gonna stay a demon. Like, I think that's just gonna be a rough patch of, right, you're gonna have to give up your immortality, which maybe that same thing will apply to Lucifer. I mean, to be fair, around Chloe, he's always been vulnerable. He's allowed himself to be vulnerable. So now begs the question, what happens now? Like, will it be a situation of Lucifer being like, nah, you know what? I give up godhood. I give up being the devil. I will be a human for the rest of my life if it means I get to stay with Chloe and not just have to watch her grow and die. So maybe there will be parallels between both of their, Maze and Eve's love story, as well as Lucifer and Chloe's, So maybe there'll be something of that vein. I am curious now that Michael has had his wings clipped, like what that means. Like, maybe we'll see a little bit of his quote-unquote redemption arc, like given his second chance on Earth, what that looks like. Maybe we'll get to see him having a regular job. So Lucifer's like, hey, Michael, and he's just like, yeah, I'm just doing a regular job now because you left me here on Earth. So I also wonder too, like, what about his siblings, like Lucifer's siblings? Is like, now that he's God, all his siblings are going to come to him, because a lot of his siblings had beef with him, because it's like, oh, Lucifer's always been like the black sheep of the family, the runt of the family. Now he's actually God, and it's like, oh, now all his siblings are coming to him and trying to like get close to him and schmooze and be like, oh, Lucifer, I always knew you had it in you, bro. The fact of the matter is, like, they're gonna want stuff from him, so now he's got to appease not only everyone on Earth, because he's probably going to try and be like, I'm gonna be the God that actually listens to what everyone wants. That's probably going to have like disastrous like elements to it, but also you know, it's going to be a situation of giving his siblings whatever they want, and, you know, probably holding some resentment against his siblings, like, kind of having that, like, oh, you want something from me? Nah, I'll help you lowly angels now that I'm gone. Like, he'll probably rub it in a lot of their faces type of thing, but, you know, we'll see. I'm sure Amenadel will be his right hand, as will be his advisor. He kind of always played that role, even over the course of this series, trying to steer Lucifer in the right direction, but now that he sees where his brother is, it's like, nah, you don't need me by your side, but it's like, because obviously they were setting up to make it maybe potentially Amenadel being God and everything, but now it's like, would he want to just serve as like Lucifer's right hand? But it's also like, right, he wants to stay on Earth with his son and Linda, so would that become, because I don't know if they've ever like officially like, they're co-parenting, but I don't know if they're like an official couple or not. I don't know if that's really been something they've really talked about. So, but I think that's going to be his main focus, is looking after Charlie and everything, especially still dealing with the whole thing of like, right, Charlie can get sick and die, like he has to kind of deal with that, which that, I think that mortality is going to be a big thing next season. Kind of already has been always, but I think it's going to be an even bigger subject in the closing of the show. I mean, speaking of Linda, her relationship with her daughter, which I think, like, there might be some parallels between Maze's story with her mom and Linda and her daughter in that regard of like, yeah, things are copacetic good, but there still might be some unresolved issues there, because you also got to bring your daughter, like, do you bring your daughter fully into your world of like, yo, so like your brother's father is an angel, so that's a whole thing, and it's like, do you bring up that conversation, you know, I mean, obviously, once again, like what the cases are like now that, you know, Lucifer is God, like what do the cases look like, you know, what does therapy look like now that like Linda's gonna be like, wow, you're kind of God now. I mean, I got to talk to God before, now I'm talking to Lucifer, a former angel who's now turned into God. It's a whole thing. Like, there's just so much that I'm so curious to see how they end up, how this all ends up playing out, and I'm so excited. This is something I'm looking forward to so much. I'm excited to see how they, you know, wrap the series up. It's been one hell of a ride. Yes, all the hell puns. But yeah, obviously these are some of the things going through my mind. I'd love to get to know your thoughts in the comments down below. What are some things you want to see from the final season? What are some things you expect to see in the final season? Let me know all your thoughts. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good